The book of Revelation is the end time story. And it's a story very much like what we see in the Lord of the Rings, where Middle Earth has to be saved from Mordor and Sauron and the orcs and, I don't know who all. I've watched the series or the trilogy, and I haven't read the books because I'm not really a sci-fi person. But as I'm studying Revelation, I realize, there are two problems that God had to deal with or has to deal with regard to the earth and Christ setting up his millennial kingdom. Because that's kind of the goal here about the end times, is that Christ will return and set up his 1,000-year reign. Okay, that's the end goal of what we call the tribulation or the time of the end. The end goal is for Christ to set up his millennial kingdom. So there's two basic problems that man has. One is when we were created in the garden, when God formed man, he gave him dominion over the earth. So when we fell, when our first parents fell and they sinned, that was a big problem. God has taken care of the sin problem by sending Jesus to die on the cross and be the atonement for our sin. And that was the solution to the sin problem. But there's another problem, and I want to thank Dr. Michael Heiser for bringing this to my attention a few years back, and that is that if you were to ask a Jewish person, why is the world so full of sin and darkness and trouble, they would say, well, it's sin. Yes, man is sinful, but it goes beyond that. The second problem is the problem of dark forces, supernatural dark forces, spiritual powers and principalities who are at work, the demonic realm. And remember, demons are the spirits of the giants, the hybrids that were on the earth before the flood. That probably the big reason for the flood was to get rid of these hybrid beings, the Nephilim, who were the offspring of the fallen angels who came to earth and intermarried with human women. And those angels who did those things were cast in the pit. They're in chains in the pit. And Revelation 9 tells us about the pit being opened and these beings being released again. Jude chapter 6 talks about them and how they're going to be judged on the great day. The great day is that last 1,000-year day, the millennium. So these fallen entities are going to be judged. So the problem doesn't just extend to sinful man. The sin has been energized, and wickedness has been increased because of all the fallen ones who are here on earth. The demonic realm, demons, are one aspect, but there are still fallen entities, hybrid beings, fallen angels, and so on, who are at work. They energize this system of destruction that we're seeing on the earth right now. The average person doesn't want war. The average person just wants to live their life and, go to work and have kids and have a nice dinner and sit around and visit. Okay, people, normal people, regular normal people do not want wars. But the enemy wants wars. Okay, the enemy is the author of war. The dark forces that are at play right now, Satan, his fallen angels, demons, hybrid entities, all of these beings are what have actually taken sin and made it worse. Okay, they've taken what would have been bad to begin with, and they've absolutely taken it to the ultimate end of, like, this is really bad. Many people think that the reason for the end time scenario, what people call the tribulation, is for a couple of purposes. It's God's judgment on an unbelieving world. And I've talked about how that can't be true, because we know that regular people are going to be judged at the great white throne judgment. They're not judged at the end of the tribulation or during the tribulation period. Otherwise, people are judged twice, and unbelievers are only going to be judged once. There are people who are going to take the mark of the beast, and they will have immediate judgment. They're not going to wait till the great white throne judgment. Immediately, they're going to be cast into the lake of fire. But the problem is not one of sin anymore. The problem is one of dominion. Who's going to rule the earth? And this is where it becomes a geography issue. Christ doesn't have the sin problem to deal with anymore. Now he's dealing with who's going to control the earth. In my last video, I said the earth is the prize. The earth is the prize. We're talking about something like Lord of the Rings now. Who is going to have dominion over the earth? Is it going to be Satan and the beast, who's a man? Okay, because men are the only ones who can have dominion over the earth. Satan can't have dominion over the earth except as he rules through a man, because this is the way God has set things up. So he's going to have his Antichrist, the son of perdition, the one who's going to rise from the sea of death, the one to whom Satan is going to give all his power, throne, and his great authority, to this man who's going to be indwelt by Apollyon, one of the angels of the bottomless pit, the king of the angels of the bottomless pit. And that is the man through whom Satan is going to rule the earth. Okay, Satan and the fallen angels are all going to be on earth during the end times. They're going to be cast out of heaven. They're all going to be on the earth. And people are going to be here too. But it's like Lord of the Rings. We're going to have these different races or different entities all battling for who controls this place. Because now the problem is one of who's going to have dominion here. The sin problem is taken care of. Christ is coming back to regain the dominion of the earth for mankind. He's going to set this right. So the goal of the tribulation is to separate out all the people who shouldn't be in certain places. No, there shouldn't be fallen angels in heaven and Satan. They're going to come to the earth. The pit is going to be emptied. Everything is going to be brought to the earth, because the earth is the place where judgment is going to take place. When Jesus comes to the earth, judgment on the fallen angels is going to be here on earth. All the beings who are let loose from the pit and from underneath the Euphrates River, they're all going to be here in this place. And Jesus is going to take all those beings and throw them into the lake of fire. Because the great day, the time before Jesus sets up his millennial kingdom and begins this great day, this last seventh day of God's big, great week of human history, Jesus does not want those beings on the earth during the millennium. This is one reason why we know the millennium hasn't occurred, because there's still demons wandering around. People are still demon possessed. That will not be the case during the millennium, because all those demons will be in the lake of fire. They're not going to be on the earth anymore. All the hybrids are going to be in the lake of fire. Anyone who takes the mark of the beast is going to be in the lake of fire. Satan will not. He'll be judged and he'll be released and judged after the millennium, but then he'll be in the lake of fire. All those angels who seduced human women and intermarried with them, creating the Nephilim, the giants, the hybrids, all of those fallen angels are going to be in the lake of fire. That's the purpose of the tribulation, is to consolidate places, get the squatters out of heaven, those fallen angels who are squatters, get rid of the hybrids who are on earth. They're squatters here. They don't belong here. It's separating everything out so that every place is pure. You know, heaven is pure. No fallen angels. Okay, the earth is pure. Only humans. No hybrids, no demons, no fallen angels interfering. Satan not interfering. The pit will be emptied out, and only Satan will be placed back in the pit for the 1,000 years. The place of the dead, which is called Sheol or Hades, will still be in existence, because people will still be dying during the millennium, and their spirits will still need to go to a holding place until they're judged at the end of the millennium at the great white throne judgment. during the course of the end times, all of those beings, spiritual beings who have been cast to the earth or spit up out of the pit, out of the abyss, will all be on the earth, and there's only two options for them. They either have to hold the earth and make it theirs, or they're going to be cast into the lake of fire. And they truly believe that they can hold the earth. They truly believe that. They believe that they have the power to do that. And I think that they think that because they're going to be killing off real humans. And only the hybrids or people who have been made into the image of the beast, which is like people who are made into the image of Christ, or Adam, who's in the image of God. The image of the beast is not an idol. It's people who are going to be like the beast, who is all human, but has a fallen angel watcher spirit placed inside of him. In the case of the beast, it's Apollyon. But in the case of his fellow watcher angels, they're going to be looking for people, and they'll promise them immortality if they can just, be downloaded into their bodies. So all of these are going to try to hold the earth. They're going to try to do that. And because the alternative is the lake of fire. This is the last stand. They have to make it work. And Satan does believe he has a plan. And I've done a video on why I think he thinks he can win. And I'll leave a link to that in the description box. So the problem is one of dominion now. We've been saved. The sin problem is taken care of. Jesus died on the cross. That's all been done. Now the problem is how to get this place back, how to win this back again. And that's when Jesus takes the scroll in heaven. When he takes that scroll, he is accepting God's commission to regain the earth for mankind and to exercise judgment over all those fallen entities. The story here is so much bigger. It's not this little tiny weird story that we've been given about how people are so bad and now God's going to pour out all his wrath on unbelievers that are on the world. That's not the story. That is not the story. The story is how God is going to judge all the fallen beings, the watcher angels and the fallen angels and the demons and the hybrids. He is cleaning house. He's getting them all swept into a pile here on earth, and he is going to then shove them into the incinerator that never incinerates, called the lake of fire. That's the purpose for the time of the end. It's really important that we understand the reason for this. And because God has a purpose that the sons of Abraham, the physical descendants of Abraham, and God knows who they are, they're going to be led into the wilderness during this time. And if they weren't, there wouldn't be anybody left. Just no nation of Israel. The promises that God made to Abraham, he could not fulfill. So Jesus is going to take that group from the nation of Israel, the physical descendants of Abraham, and bring them into the wilderness. And that's where they're going to be kept, so that when this horrible reign of fallen angels and Satan and the hybrids and all of that, and people who side with them, who are going to take the mark of the beast, they're all going to be cast into the lake of fire. They're the problem. Jesus is going to get dominion back, and the nation of Israel is going to be the foundation for his kingdom. He is going to rule from Jerusalem. That's why this remnant has to be saved, so that God can keep his promises to Abraham. But if he didn't do that, like I said, they would be totally destroyed by the enemy. So after Jesus returns, this place is actually going to be a disaster. It's going to be horrible. And scriptures tell us that God is going to judge those who, the destroyers of the earth. That's something that will happen. And then the millennium will be a time when this place is going to be turned back into like the Garden of Eden, and people will live to be very old. There will be people from the nations who survive all of this time of the end, who will be living on this present earth during the millennium, and Christ will be ruling over all the nations. So the story is not the one you've been told. Okay, the story of a 7-year tribulation and Israel coming to faith in Christ when Christ returns, and that's how they're saved. They're not saved spiritually. Okay, they are actually physically saved, delivered, not killed by the beast or the Antichrist, not totally annihilated as a people, which is something Satan has tried to do throughout history. All right, so I'm putting this video out because if you don't understand the reason for the end times, you're not going to be able to follow anything else that I say on the next videos that I do. You have to know why the end times are here. You have to understand that Jesus is cleaning house so that when he sets up his kingdom, that it isn't full of bad, horrible entities who are going to do to people and to the earth what they did after, just prior to the flood. So leave a comment in the comment section. I will be doing some more videos. I am going to be doing a video. It sounds really boring and not very exciting, especially in light of the end times and all the things that are happening in the world today. But I'm going to do this series on the geography of Revelation because it's super important that you understand that right now we're living in a world where places are really important, that God is cleaning house, that places, heaven, the earth, what's under the earth, these places, Middle Earth, Mordor, these places, this is what the story is all about right now. All right, we'll see you on another video. Till then, have a blessed day.